Marks advanced in a tech rally, but gains were limited as Trump's constant back and forth on tariffs continued to cast uncertainty on the markets and the global economic outlook. And for more, we're joined by Jameel Ahmad in Mexico City. He's chief analyst at forex broker GTC. Good to have you back on the program, Jameel. Now, a sigh of relief after a week of heavy selling across markets. What's helped lift sentiment?
I would say it was the latest rollback where we had the weekend development that it appears that Chinese smartphones and some other products would not be subject to that 145% tariff, and it would stay at 20%. But the key word here is that it's for now. There are a lot of plot twists. There are updates coming in pretty much every hour across different sectors, with different goods. And I think that global financial markets were boosted by the technology rebound we saw on that smartphone move. But there's still other industries, there's a lot of uncertainty, and I'm not going to say that we are out of the woods. Let's see what the latest headlines are from Washington as well as Beijing, as this appears to be a very sentiment and headline-driven financial market atmosphere, and nobody knows which direction this plot twist might head next.
Right, and let's talk about these exemptions. There's a lot of uncertainty there. We're seeing electronics first being exempt, and now talks of auto imports. Do you see this as Trump backing down?
Not necessarily. I think that actually we're seeing further escalations. There's no denying here that we're not necessarily just at a trade war. We're looking at a potential economic war between the world's largest one and two economies of the world. You've got some tariffs on Chinese goods as high as 145%. On the other end, we've got some tariffs on US goods as high as 125%. So I wouldn't say that this is somebody backing down. Again, by this time tomorrow, these headlines could completely change. We could have extra tariffs. We could have these tariffs being reduced. Nobody's any of the wiser. We would have had this interview just a week ago. We were talking about retaliatory tariffs on so many different trading partners. Of course, that has been rolled back, but nobody knows which way this is going to head next.
Right. Meanwhile, investors are also bracing for some earnings this week, particularly US banks. What could these earnings tell us about the state of the US economy in the wake of these tariffs?
Not enough yet, because we haven't seen the impact yet on consumer sentiment and consumer spending. It will take a couple of months to see what impact this might have on tariffs. Of course, some industries are already suggesting warnings about what the impact will be on price rises. But I would say if you look at some of the economic data releases that we even had last week, they were completely ignored because the market is completely being swayed by these headlines. So there is a chance and potential that these earnings that are coming up, maybe there won't be much market noise or headlines at all, because everything's very dependent on this very erratic and ever-changing landscape around trade tariffs and trade tensions and which way this might be headed next.
Ever-changing indeed. Jameel Ahmad, chief analyst at GTC, thank you very much for joining us. A high-profile legal battle kicked off in Washington on Monday. US regulators are taking